everyone, and welcome to our Catalyst Spotlight. I'm your host and supervising producer of Catalyst, Nikki Coble, and today we are joined by Adam Schwartz, who is the Emmy-nominated filmmaker, also the managing producer of Red Clay Media, and a producer, director, and one of the stars of It's a Southern Things viral sketch comedy series, So True, Y'all. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be back at Catalyst.
Oh, we're so lucky to have you. And just check in for anybody watching. If you would like to ask any questions, you're welcome to add them in the comments below. Just give StreamYard permission, or Facebook, YouTube, permission to use your name so that way we know who's talking, but we welcome your questions and we will get to those at the end. But in the meantime, Adam, your project, Adam Celebrates, was the 2016 Best Reality Series winner at Catalyst. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience at the festival?
Oh, man. So it was my first time to be at the festival back in 2016, and this was back when it was ITV Fest, and it was in Dover, Vermont, up in I'd never been to Vermont before either, and I didn't know what to expect. I went by myself with this project, and it was one of the best festival experiences that I had ever had. Being where it was, I mean, now it's in Duluth, Minnesota, which I've also never been to. I'm just learning that I need to go more places.
Just saying, I'm available. Would love to take a tour of Duluth. There's plenty of filmmaking incentives now, so we'll pass those on.
yeah, that would be awesome. But it was this like secluded place in the middle of Vermont, and and everybody there was amazing, and it was like this concentrated, just like ball of inspiration and networking and creators, and it was like I had been to other festivals before, but this one was the first one that really felt like it was like a place for creators to go and connect with other creators, and there's still a bunch of people that I met that I still keep up with and I follow, and it's like being part of a family almost, of like Catalyst people. It's like, hey, you were there, and it was just a really, really awesome experience.
That's wonderful to hear. We're so glad to know that it does feel as we intend, like a really intimate atmosphere where people are making connections that will be lasting. The room where it happens, as it were, where everybody's bringing their stuff. What were your takeaways from screening your work and connecting with the Catalyst community?
It was screening my work was awesome. It was a place where I could, get new eyeballs on this thing, and then, meet and talk to people about it afterwards. And we were sharing ideas and thoughts and notes, and like meeting people that can help maybe put it in other places, or like get more eyeballs on it. It's that kind of event too, where it's not just other creators that are there. It's, network and executives and other people that are coming, development folks. So, just being there to screen my work in that way was awesome. But seeing the work that other people were doing was also a pretty big source of inspiration and motivation for me. And it was incredible, just coming from Birmingham, Alabama, where we don't have a festival. We have film festivals, but nothing like this. It's geared really towards like independent series creators and things like that. Getting to see that there's this community out there, and that there are creators all over the place that are doing this kind of independent content creation was eye-opening and really inspiring. And I came away from that with this like, oh man, I have so many more ideas, or like there's people out there that I can collaborate with, and that sort of stuff. So it was that time at the festival was, I look back fondly on it often.
Well, that is wonderful to hear, and certainly part of the goal that people are continually inspiring each other with their work and saying, oh, this is possible. That's so interesting that they did this with that idea, that it kind of creates a network that creates ripples. Again, if you're just joining us, please do feel free to drop any questions for Adam in the comments, and just let us know who you are by giving permission to Facebook, YouTube, all of the above, to let us know who you are so we can call on you by name. But Adam, you were an actor, writer, producer, and director on that show, Adam Celebrates, that you brought, and others since. What advice do you have for those creating their content from multiple angles like that?
Oh man! First of all, you got to love it. You got to love what you're doing. That's like the biggest thing. If you're going to devote whatever it is, Adam Celebrates was short episodes of about 5 minutes long each. Yeah. But even then, like approaching it as, being in front of and behind the camera, like you got to be passionate about it, or you're gonna burn out hard. So you got to be passionate about it. You got to make sure that you can do it more than once if that's your goal. Oh, yeah. If you're gonna if you want to make multiple things, it's got to be sustainable. Work within your means, I would say. And oh, yeah. Adam Celebrates, as a reality show, we definitely did that within our means. We had I had two cameras, and it was just 2 cameras and me with a lav mic going out doing this show, and it was very sort of low scale, low footprint or small footprint kind of thing. But it's just sort of making the most of what we had to work with.
Absolutely. And I would say, you've got now, it's a Southern thing, and this has kind of grown in a beautiful way that we're about to talk about. But I would imagine that your team becomes very important, as I've kind of been in your shoes as well, that having the people who you have that shorthand with and saying, I know that I can task this person to get that started while I'm doing this, or this person can be my eyes while I'm behind the camra, right? Or rather in front of the camera.
Yeah, if you're in front of the camera, you need to have someone you can trust behind the camera, not only just technically, but just like creatively. You're when you're doing both roles, you're playing. You're not directing by yourself. Basically, right. You need somebody back there that you do have a shorthand with, and that was true for Adam Celebrates. And especially true for what we do on It's a Southern Thing is that, we have this team that kind of reads each other's thoughts, and we're on the same page. And, for all the things that we say about sort of, playing all these roles and it's never, you're never like doing it alone. Like, and
you can't do it alone is the thing, I think, right?
Definitely.
A lot of us go, oh, I'll just do that. Oh, I'll be the AD too, and I'll do this. You're like, that's not humanly possible, and it will not go well.
Yeah, you'll age so fast if you do that.
Yes.
Yes. But even you see a lot of creators out there. You think, well, how did they do it? How did they do it by themselves? Like they're not doing it by themselves. So you definitely need a good, even if your team is small, 2-3 people. On It's a Southern Thing, our core team is 3 to 4 people, and
right.
But we're able to trust each other, and we know what our sensibilities are. We know what our goals are. And, I can say, like, if I'm in front of the camera, I trust you behind the camera to know that the shot is good and that we're getting the right performances and things like that. So, yeah.
And also plan, right? You can set yourself up for the moment by thinking about the moment before it arrives as best as possible, right?
Yeah. I'm one of those people that has to, like, either in my mind or somewhere else, like I got to know exactly how it's going to go before we actually, like pre-production for me is like where all the work is done. And then production, you're just pushing the snowball down the hill and just hoping, hopefully you set up the track so that the snowball rolls just where it's supposed to go.
Right.
That was a weird metaphor, but
no, it's great. Cause I actually have a GIF in my phone when people ask me what it was like to do my show from multiple roles. There's this Wallace and Gromit. I don't know if anybody knows that animation, the clay stop animation, right?
Yeah.
Gromit is in one of those mill careening in the mines. He's in one of the mine shafts on the track, and he's throwing the tracks from his hands in front of the cart as it's careening down the track. And that's exactly what it feels like when you're producing it on multiple angles, for sure. Let's just check in with the comments for a moment.
Hey.
One of our viewers would like to know what kind of preparation is involved to make sure that the vision is shared with the team in pre-production. Thank you for that question. I'd love to share your name.
That's a great question. Yeah, who are you?
I know it might be Sabri, but I can't tell because it just comes up as Facebook user.
Facebook
if
user.
That's you, Thank you for your question.
All right, Facebook user.
Yes, indeed.
No, it's a good question. I would say the biggest thing is communication. Like nobody, you don't assume that people are going to read your mind. I mean, I just said that we all read each other's minds, but it didn't start out that way.
No,
no. Communication about the vision, communication about, whatever it is that you're making, you communicate with your team, and also don't be afraid to ask questions. And I think that asking questions leads to collaboration, and it leads to things that you may not even have thought of. So if building a team is building trust, and building trust is just like in any relationship. It's the same sort of process. It's communication, and also being a trustworthy person. I don't know. I'm getting into psychology here, but yeah, I would say the biggest thing is communication. And then you'll get to a point where you understand, having communicated with everybody, that, okay, we're all on the same page, and I think we're ready to make this happen. I mean, because it really is like, and I've had it happen where you get to a point in the production process that it's probably too far for this to be happening, but you get to a point and you're like, oh wait, what are you thinking that we're going to do here? Oh, that's not what I was thinking. And hang on, we need to talk about this.
Or we can't light this space, or there aren't enough extras to fill this out and make this look like a full bar. I would ask
that was very specific.
Because it's happened. Oh, by the way, can we also have the PAs double as extras? We did not cover this in pre-pro. We just thought everything was going to magically come together. Because you all were a reality show, did you storyboard? Did you use rehearsal time? How much preparation goes into it from the reality point of view?
This was a little bit more. The preparation done for this was in sort of lining up where we were going and communicating with. So what I did was I would go to these various places around town, and if I was celebrating Face Your Fears Day, I would go to the local exotic pet store and let them put spiders on me. So,
oh God,
yeah, it was awful. And so for that, the pre-production was setting it up and then going into the space beforehand. And it was, for us, it was before we actually started rolling the camera. So we just gave ourselves some time to get there, and at the beginning of the day, and talk to the people we were interacting with, let them know sort of what our plans were, and then I could communicate with the two camera operators that I had and say, all right, let's do this bit here. We're going to do this. It was sort of like, rehearsing at the top of the day for that kind of stuff. So a lot of the pre-production work was lining it up. It's not always going to be the same. Sometimes, if you're a bigger production, you may want to take a lot more time to go and do what we did at the beginning of the day. Take days before you actually go film it and set that stuff up. But
right.
We kind of operated on like a micro scale, sort of a microcosm scale, where we did a lot of the sort of setting up the logistics and that sort of stuff, and then mapping out the vision with the creatives on my team. And then at the top of the day, we would go to the location and then work that out with them and figure out the spaces there, and then say, all right, we're ready to roll. Let's do this bit. And then we sort of bounced around. But
yeah, those indie or the micro budgets when we start out are much more with permission, run and gun, right? Yeah. That we get in and get out, but we do that with permission so that we make sure that no one gets in trouble.
Get permission. That's definitely good advice.
Indeed. Permission and insurance.
Yes.
Let's make a list. Yes, indeed. But what could you tell us about your unconventional career path going viral with It's a Southern Thing?
Oh, It's a Southern Thing. So yeah, I was it. Yeah, if anybody else has this story, please chime in, because it's an interesting one. So I got my MFA in film production from the University of New Orleans, and after that, I actually I kind of did things in a weird way. I became a professor. I taught film production courses at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, and did that for a little while. I have to. So I taught film production courses there for a little while. And then this opportunity came up, in Birmingham, which is my hometown, that they were starting this new video production team at Alabama Media Group, which is the company that operates AL.com, which is basically the local newspaper in digital website form. It's like, okay, well, they're starting a new team for news video. That's cool, I guess. And so I'd asked about it. It's like, what's going on? I was always like ground floor type initiatives. So I was like, what's this all about? And they sold me. They said, we want to do video for this news website, but we don't want to do news video. Like, we're hiring filmmakers and we're hiring, photographers and things like that. People that aren't necessarily journalists to come be in this video team because we want to do original programming for this and we want to just try new things and innovate. And I said, well, that sounds pretty cool. I don't know where this is going to lead, but sure, I'll leave this very stable teaching position to just kind of jump in. I was, I got the bug to do to get back into full-time production and that sort of stuff. And it was in my hometown. I was like, well, I'll feel it out. I'll see how that goes. And I start the job there, and it's basically kind of the Wild West, of digital online video. We were given the freedom to just kind of do whatever. The first thing that I did was Adam Celebrates.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, I didn't, it was, for the betterment of that, it was like we didn't really have drags. It's just, hey, what do you want to make stuff and we'll put it up. And I was like, well, sure. Even though it's a platform for news, I'll make a weird reality show, and it's like a local hotspot featuring thing, and that just has a weird gimmicky twist. We'll try that. Why not? I don't know what I'm doing. And so, I made that, and then we just continued to experiment and continue to learn things about the digital video space and the social media space. And, I'm coming from this background of like, I'm trained in like narrative filmmaking. I'm, I'm going to be a feature filmmaker, that kind of stuff. And I am making short internet videos. And so, it's a long period of just kind of experimentation and learning that people don't necessarily want to see funny videos on the same place where they go find news about people being murdered. So it was like, okay, well, we should make a new platform for this. And so we started a new platform called This is Alabama, which is going to be good news stories about the state. Little short documentary pieces that are just good news stories about Alabama. That it's not with the crime and other stuff. It's its own little place. And so I had always wanted to do sketch comedy. My dream in high school was to be on SNL. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to make some sketch comedy. And so I made a couple of sketch comedy videos for This is Alabama, and we posted them on Facebook, and they just went nuts. They went viral. These videos about just life in the South. One of them was about if your GPS navigation device was Southern and it's giving you directions like go down the road a piece and you'll pass a church and maybe it's like that kind of stuff. And
if
the other
you're
one
fixing
was
to get to the
exactly. The other one was what bless your heart really means. It's actually an insult. And those videos just blew up. There was apparently this Southern identity audience that just craved that stuff, and those videos got millions of views on Facebook. And it was like, okay, that's crazy. But and so it's like, well, maybe there's an audience for this. Maybe there's maybe there's a regional audience. So that's when we decided, these sketches are doing really well. We don't want them just to live on a page called This is Alabama. That's too specific. Let's make it's a Southern thing. So we did that in August of 2017, and it continued to explode and go viral, and here we are today, still doing it.
How thrilling is that?
At a newspaper.
And it's crazy too, because it's the kind of thing that takes off. If someone said, "Oh, what did you do? What did you do?" Because I'm going to do exactly what you did. It wasn't something that you could have planned. And I think that's the part that everybody has trouble believing. It's got to be a formula that I can copy, and there really isn't. It's just something catches the zeitgeist and people just eat it up. How do you keep it fresh, leaping forward to now, and meeting the demand for content with 3 million followers on Facebook and 500,000 on YouTube? How do you do that?
Keeping it fresh. That just comes down to us kind of fulfilling our creative desires. Really, is to say, like, what do we want to do? What do we like to do, and what do we want to do? And we have to mix it up. But keeping it fresh personally is just about doing the fun stuff, doing the videos that we get really excited to make. We did the things that I get really excited about are, the things that are more cinematic, where I get to flex a little bit of that filmmaking muscle. We did a sketch that was if Southern moms were Marvel superheroes, and we did.
I watched that one last night. It was so fun.
That was so much fun to make, and we got to parody a Marvel superhero trailer, which is really a lot of fun to do. And that's how we keep it fresh for ourselves, is that we just we get to flex a little bit. We get to play around and do parodies or do something cinematic, and that's always fun. And we have to mix it up because of the scheduling. If we're like on a we have to do one a week. So sometimes we do like a really simple, like, this is the types of Southerners at the grocery store kind of thing, where it's just really quick. But then we get to reward ourselves and do something a lot more fun. So that's how we keep it fresh for ourselves, and hopefully how we keep it fresh for our audience. I mean, I think that we just keep giving them what they like.
Yeah, it's a buffet of treats, folks.
Keeping the we got to keep our finger on the pulse and react, stay engaged with the audience, and they give us ideas and things like that. So it is a lot of, there's a lot of back and forth that we try to cultivate this community and maintain engagement, and that's all those buzzwords. But yeah, I mean, it's keeping it fresh for us, and the reason we still like doing it is just scratching those creative itches every once in a while, even if we do have to give them just sort of like some sort of basic red meat every once in a while. It's like, well, here's a treat after this. So.
That's a great way to put it. Now, this is just a fun fact, and I thought it was delightful. You're also a host and founding member of Literally Wasted, which is an
Literarily Wasted.
Literarily, oh my God, I even missed it because it's so smart. Literarily Wasted, which is an online sci-fi fantasy book club with members from around the world. How does that influence you as a creator and producer?
That's like a pure passion project. It's not tied to any sort of money-making revenue or anything like that. It's just something that it actually came from my wife, who is a very passionate sci-fi fantasy reader. I was not. I had read, like, before we started this book club, I had read like one book. But she was like, I read all these books, and they don't have book clubs for people who read science fiction and fantasy. Like, I can't find that anywhere. It's like, well, we'll start one. And let's do it online, because we don't like to leave our house, and we like to wear pajamas. And we had some, I had experience doing live videos and things like that. So it's like, well, let's try it. And we actually partnered with Second and Charles, which is a used bookstore and other things. They do all, it's like books, movies, games, etc. And we partnered with them for our first year, just as a say, like, hey, like, we'll do our live discussions from your store and that sort of stuff, just to help sort of build awareness of the book club. But
really smart.
It was a lot of, that is like, it's just a passion thing, and I get to do it with my wife and with Talia, who's also one of the stars of It's a Southern Thing, and her husband. It's the four of us, and and that it like so how does it influence me? It reminds me of sort of why we do this, like just finding those things that we're passionate about and that we love and that we would do if nobody watched it. Like, and of course you want people to watch it, because that's how you make it. But
of course,
but it's one of those things that I would definitely do. If sometimes we only get like 60 people watching our live book discussions, but it's just so much fun. And the community that we have there is such a tight, it's like one of the most pleasant places on the internet. It's like everybody is so nice, and they're all there for, just to talk about these books that we read, and we do one a month. And we have video content around it. So, it's like, we have this brand, Literarily Wasted, and we've been able to grow it. Now we do merch sales every once in a while, and we have people who buy our shirts and tumblers and tote bags and things like that. And
so cool.
We've done author Q&As with authors like V.E. Schwab and Lev Grossman, and so it just it influences me just in like an inspirational way of just like, keep going, keep doing it. Things take while, it also reminds me that you're not going to build an audience for something overnight. And the only way to really ensure that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it right, and you're going to actually have like audiences and fans, is to do it because you love it, and to do it consistently. And we've been doing it for 2 years and still growing, and we're not going to stop. So it's awesome. If you like science fiction and fantasy, you should check it out. We're a lot of fun.
I was just going to say, if somebody is watching and just went, that sounds like home, where do they go? Where do I send them?
You can find us. We're primarily on Facebook and YouTube. You can just search for Literarily Wasted. We have a Facebook page, and we also have a Facebook group called the Literarily Wasted Lounge, where you can find that Facebook group and join us. And that's where like everybody's posting about the books they're reading, and about book memes and things like that. And then we have 2 live discussions every month on Facebook and YouTube, where you read the first half of the book in the first half of the month, and then we'll talk about the whole book at the second half of the month. And it's awesome. So search us Literarily Wasted on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter too. We're everywhere.
That sounds like so much fun. And that's the thing you said, even if an audience is still building, the fans that you have are passionate fans.
They are.
in that realm. They are certainly passionate. Again, if you're just joining us, we might have time for 1 or 2 more questions. So if you have any questions for Adam and his process, please feel free to drop them in the comments and just let us know who you are as you do so. Adam, what do you think have been the keys to your success so far?
Oh man, the keys, man, I wish I could quantify it. Just being in the right place at the right time. No.
Yeah.
It's
dumb luck, right?
Yeah.
Beginner luck.
Just finding something that speaks to somebody else, and finding those people to speak to. Really, it's it's a Southern thing. There's an audience for relatable Southern humor, and we tapped into that. And we keep it clean. We keep it short and sweet, and we found a nice sweet spot for that. So, relatable content for us was the key to success. It's not out. It's something that people can connect with easily, especially in the world of social media. I mean, which is where we exist. Relatability is the key there, I think, and basically all of social media is like people relating to other people. You see it's so many like memes on Facebook and Instagram and Reddit. It's just people like TikTok, just people sharing stuff that is highly relatable, and people being like, yep, that's me. And so that with It's a Southern thing, that's those are sort of our check boxes, as we say, like, all right, this is our video idea. Who is going to identify with this and how?
Right.
And what are they going to say in the comments when, who are they going to tag in the comments? Like, who are they going to point to and say like, this is us, or this is me, this is you. That's the thing that we constantly check ourselves in to make sure that we're hitting that audience. And then again, it's the whole idea of doing it consistently and doing it because you love it. Like, I can't stress that enough. And even if you do that, even if you're like the most passionate person in the world, like you may still experience burnout here and there. But but it helps you keep going. So I don't know, and it sounds like YouTube Creator Studio-y thing, but like we're Creator Academy or whatever. But it's true. Like you've got to just find something you love, and you got to do it, and you got to just do it consistently. And that's definitely been the key to success for both It's a Southern Thing and Literarily Wasted. And just know that if you build it, they will come. They may not come as fast as you want them to,
right?
But they will. And the ones that do, especially if you're on a platform like YouTube or something like that, like the ones that do are the good ones. They'll stay, the good fans. And it's not just about getting someone to like, and we're talking about series or like a series of videos. It's not just about getting someone to see a video that you do and be like, that was a funny video. It's about
you want them to be engaged.
It's about getting them to see another video that you do and being able to connect it to the other video that you made and be like, oh, that's the same people that did this other thing. Then you've got a fan, and a fan is much more valuable than just somebody who saw your video and was like, and then kept scrolling.
That is just so smart. I will take one of the questions here from our Facebook user. Do you have an inspiration to tie in the comedic Southern culture project with the science fiction aspiration?
What? Thank you, Facebook user, for your question. Do I have inspiration to tie in the comedic Southern culture project with the science fiction aspiration?
Or maybe science fiction inspiration? Is there a Venn diagram wherein your comedic Southern culture could meet with science fiction and to have a baby with 1 million views?
Oh my gosh.
What would that be?
I hope so. I'm a huge nerd. I don't know if you can tell by the stuff that I have around me, but I'm a huge nerd, really. Like, I do the cosplay and I'm into Star Trek. So yeah, there's always, if I have the opportunity to merge the two, I will always take that opportunity. And we, like we did the Southern Marvel superhero trailer. That was an example of me like being like, I'm going to do a nerdy thing, but combine it with Southern culture. And because they're not, entirely mutually exclusive. And I think one of the things that we're also trying to do on It's a Southern Thing is kind of expand what people's perception of the South is. Because I'm a Southerner, and I've lived in the South all my life, but I want to show that there are Southerners out there that aren't just like rednecks and like like what other people think of the South. There's also all sorts of people in the South, and nerds especially. Like there's a giant science fiction fantasy convention happening this weekend in Atlanta, which is technically the South. So like, I guess is that
you're open to it. You're waiting to receive from the universe the idea wherein those two worlds collide, and we cannot wait to watch it.
I mean, if I could, I'll just give me just tell me, say, hey, we want to see it if Star Trek was Southern sketch, and I will make it.
Oh, there it is. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Now we have another question from Karis, and she says, congratulations on your success. What are your networking tips?
Networking tips. Networking is one of those things. It's like it's a necessary thing. And my tips for it, just, gosh, I don't know. Be open-minded, be open to any and all possibilities. I think that my, stumbling into, this traditionally news company and then birthing this sketch comedy series out of that, was just because we were open-minded. I took an opportunity and I made that out. That's not necessarily a networking tip, but when you're, I guess, meeting and talking to people and just being open to what they have and what they have to offer and what they have to offer in terms of collaboration. And I think networking is just about building your Rolodex of people that you can call and you can follow. And I would say be supportive. It's not just about you. If you're networking, chances are the other people are there to do the same thing. You want to pitch your stuff and they want to pitch theirs. And
right.
even if you're not the person that can like get their show on Netflix, you're a person that can be there to listen and be there to hear about their show and give them encouragement and give them support. And I would say that just being a nice person and not being too like, don't be pushy, don't be like, it's like this, it's intimidating because it's this sort of like high pressure, or high speed situation, and people, networking, you got to like get your stuff in 10 words or less. And it's, but just being, I would say that being nice, I respond much better to just nice people that aren't, I know if we're networking, there's something that you are working on. There are projects that you have, but don't be pushy. I would say just be nice, be a nice person. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, being nice and being open. I mean, one of the things you just said was so smart, because I think we all know that when we're networking, there is something that everyone wants to get out of a situation where it starts to seem transactional. And I was talking about this on another spotlight recently, but what you just said kind of made me think of the structure of a network, right? And that maybe the reason that I'm meeting Adam is because I know somebody else who might be a great connection for him. And that my job in knowing you is to be the sound connection between two great people who should know each other. And maybe that's all it is. Maybe there's nothing for me in that. And so if you take the ego out of it, as you're saying, that you can go, oh, you should absolutely know so-and-so and you should work together. That makes the community stronger through you, but it isn't about you.
Right. And people won't forget doing nice things for other people, even if it doesn't benefit you at all. And in the moment, like, people will remember that, they'll be like, that person was really nice and they hooked me up with this other person. And that goes a long way, I think, to, like there's a lot of, like, really sort of intense, there's a lot of intensity in this, especially at like networking events, and it can be overwhelming, but yeah, I think just being helpful and being as nice and friendly as you can, no matter who you are, goes a long way.
Well, that's wonderful, and thank you for that. Thank you for all of your questions. You may have seen my face go up because there just started to be a little thunder here in New York City. So that might be time to wrap this up with one last question before all my lights go out, which will happen shortly, I have a feeling. But what are your goals going forward? What would we be seeing you do?
Oh man, hopefully all the things.
All the things.
Yeah, hey, if it's Star Trek, I want to do Star Trek.
Yes.
But if I can't do that, I currently I'm just focusing on building more out of what we've been able to build so far. So taking what we do on It's the Southern Thing and trying to take that to the next level, seeing where we can go with this this popular sketch comedy with the talent that we've built, and see what we can do. So we actually just finished, we just wrapped production on Monday of an independent series pilot that we produced with a lot of the talent from It's a Southern Thing. We actually got it crowdfunded from the fans of It's a Southern Thing. It's called Broken News.
Love it. Convenient swag right here for you.
Hey. So we just finished that. It's a more traditional half-hour comedy pilot that we're very excited about. It's in post-production now. So, that's one of the ways that we're exploring taking what we do and seeing if it can work in other formats and other platforms and things like that. So doing more things like that, just exploring all of the options, taking Literarily Wasted to the next level. Now we've published a book as a book community. We actually wrote a crowdsourced choose your own adventure book.
I love this.
It's called Take a Shot Stories. The first one is called Beach Trip Beware, and we had 40 something writers from from the book club community contribute. They either wrote a path, a decision point, and so we had this whole tree mapped out, and we edited it, and it's published. You can get it on. I think you can get it on. You can definitely get it on our website, which is literarylywasted.club. Should also be on Amazon, but I'll have to check that. But
that's great.
Yeah. So we we're publishing books now, and we're doing podcasts, and we're doing merch, and just trying to grow Literally Wasted. We want that to be a destination for sci-fi fantasy book lovers.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing what other video content we can do for that. We may dabble in sketches on Literally Wasted. Book identity content sketches, that sort of stuff, relatable for book lovers all over. So just growing those things, trying to keep the spark alive creatively, and just seeing what else I can get into.
Absolutely.
Just
Well,
making stuff.
So now we know if we're looking for you, you will either be fanning the flames or building your empire, continuing to build your empire, or on Star Trek.
Yeah.
There's always room for Star Trek.
Yeah.
And so we thank you so much for being so generous with your time and for answering our questions. And we look forward to what you're doing next. Thanks so much, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.